Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on the Around the Slice Entertainment YouTube channel. So, for today's topic, yesterday I was able to see the newest horror film, Weapons. So, as per usual, of course, day later, I'm here today to give you my personal review for Weapons. So, without further ado, any further introduction, let's dive right into it. So, for some background, of course, with my experience with this movie and the horror genre as a whole, typically 99.9% of the time, this is not a movie I would have typically seen. I say that because for whatever reason, I am usually always not a fan of horror movies, like at all whatsoever. Whether it's just they don't interest me or they just don't capture my attention or I don't gravitate towards them, if you will. I'm just not a fan. But once I saw the trailer for this Weapons movie, once I saw all the hype, once I saw all the intrigue, once I saw all the early critic reviews, I said, okay, this looks promising. This looks interesting. I'll make an exception. I just have to see this movie. And like, damn, man, am I so glad I did, because yes, it's a horror movie, but number one, there's not as many horror elements as I thought. So if you're someone who doesn't like horror because of the schema stuff, you're fine, I'd say. But number two, I'm so glad I saw this. So without further ado, we'll get into my regularly structured review schedule, if you will. We'll go over the positives, we'll go over the negatives, and then at the end, I'll give you a final score out of 10, as I always love to do. Put my money where my mouth is, if you will. So, my positives, I have some notes here. My positive for this movie, as always, no particular order of significance or priority, just general thoughts off the top of the dome, if you will, off the top of my head. The pacing of this movie is really good. It's only 2 hours and 8 minutes, and about 2 hours with credits. The last 8 minutes or so make up the credits. So I think the pacing of this movie is really good. It moves at a very brisk, steady pace with its storytelling. For a horror movie, it's not lighthearted, but it's not like it's like haunt-inducing, like, oh my god, you'll have nightmares. And I go back to the brisk, steady, nice pace of it all, because I think the storytelling was really well done in terms of like how it's presented and all the visual elements and just all the like connected nature of it all. I really liked how it was paced. It really never dragged, but never really overstayed its welcome with any portion of the movie right off the bat. And speaking of right off the bat, the initial introduction where the girl is the narrator of the entire movie and she comes back to the end, the initial introduction with that girl to this story is very, very chill inducing. And it wastes no time, man. Tell us right off the bat just how intense, if you will, and mysterious this film will be right off the bat. The minute she starts talking, this is a story about this. This is a town about this. It's really, really chill inducing. And I love how it was no time setting up the whole mysterious and intense nature of this story. And we're clearly in for a lot of ominous intrigue, if you will. So, I mean, it wastes no time getting right into things. I thought that first opening 10 to 15 minutes where it sets up the story as a whole was wonderfully, wonderfully crafted. Chill inducing is the right word. Now, not as much violence, which is fine. It goes back to the brisk pace I mentioned, but not as much violence is expected for a horror movie. But I am telling you right now, when that violence does come up, again, it's kind of scarce and few and far between. But when that violence does come up, it is bloody, gory, and absolutely brutal. Again, I'll say it again, not as many. I'm not even going to say not as much as I would have hoped, because I don't have any other horror movies to compare it to with my personal experience. But for a horror movie, not as many brutal violence scenes as a whole is expected for a horror film like this. But when they do come up, man, it is absolutely brutal. Like, it is gut-wrenching watching some of this stuff. So, I mean, like, they're few and far between, but it makes it even sweeter, if you will, when we do get those moments, because, and then the character of Aunt Gladys, the whole villain of the story, if you will. Oh, by the way, spoiler warning, because again, like I say with all my reviews, I find it really difficult to talk about a movie without getting into spoilers. So I'm going to spoil this right now, so you have been warned. Aunt Gladys, basically the whole villain / cause of this whole story with the kids. What a chill-inducing character. What a fear-mongering character. I mean, the minute Aunt Gladys is an extremely, extremely fear-inducing character. And it all starts from the moment she steps in on foot on screen. The moment she shows herself on screen, we can tell, okay, this lady ain't good. Like, she's clearly faking something. Like, she's like a witch. Like this is fear mongering stuff. This is truly haunting, chill inducing stuff. Whatever horror adjective you want to use, like, use that times 100 with Aunt Gladys, because like she's legit haunting. Whew, like chill inducing stuff, because from the moment she steps on screen, you can tell this ain't gonna be good. Like, this villain of the story, if you will. Like, but she's such a wonderfully written character, and she's the MVP for me. Sorry, I can't recall the actress's name right now. But yeah, just really, really, really chill inducing stuff, if you will. And yeah, man, whew, she just really, really got it going. Now, for the few negatives I do have for this movie, I love this movie in general, but there are a few negatives I do. There are just a few negatives that I do have with this movie as a whole, even though I loved it overall in general. I know this might be considered a hot take, a bold take from me, if you will, personally, but I personally didn't always enjoy the structure of this movie, like how it was presented. This has nothing to do with the pace, just like the segmented story is like, this is one character's perspective, this is another character's. I thought a couple of them were much better than others. Obviously, the couple stand out. Once you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. But a couple of them I just felt to be boring, kind of meandering, if you will, that didn't have go anywhere, that didn't really have anything to do with the story. Again, nothing against the pace. I just didn't always love how, like, the different segmented perspectives, if you will, and what have you, with all the different characters, how the storytelling, the story structure, if you will, was presented to us. This is kind of a big negative for me. I wish that we got more backstory on Justine Gandy, because she seemed like a really interesting character from the moment we meet her. And there's subtle hints of her backstory here and there. Like, there's this one scene where there's one character, a father, I think his name is Archer, father of Matthew, father of one of the kids that disappeared, obviously. He says to the investigators, what have you guys been doing in this case? You know, he's all upset, storms into the police station. And have you guys looked into this Justine Gandy character, woman? And he kind of like subtly goes, well, I looked into her and she has a very troubled past. This is a very hurt and troubled human being, troubled person as a whole. And they just kind of brush it off, and that's that. I wish that we dove a lot more, at least a little bit more, but ideally a lot more into that backstory. And that's the only subtle hints we get to that. So if she is a truly troubled human being, truly troubled past, that's a mouthful to say, then I wish that we got that exploration and dove into her character a bit more, maybe even a lot more. I know this is going to be controversial because most people really liked, from what I've seen, this portion of the movie, but I personally wasn't the biggest fan of the ending of the story. I just felt like it felt kind of abrupt, and in the end, I don't feel like it provided much closure. I just don't feel like it provided much closure. Obviously, the little girl that narrates it goes, these kids, all these kids, 17 of them reunited with their parents, and Alice Lily is now in a different town far away. And some of the kids even started to learn how to talk again, start to talk and blah, blah, whatever. I wish that was handled kind of differently. I almost wish that the little girl didn't narrate, so we can kind of leave it up to our own interpretation. The ending's already left up to a lot of interpretation. And people will probably be talking about for the next couple of months or so, give or take, this ending. But yeah, that's just what I thought. So anyways, positives, though, outweigh the negatives here, in my opinion, as I just talked through all of them. So I'm going to give this movie, my personal score, a final score of 9.25 out of 10. That might seem a tick low for some of you guys, because people, from what I've seen, critics, YouTubers that I watch, just friends in general, they give it like 9.75 or perfect 10 out of 10. Like, oh my God, this movie's a masterpiece. One of the best horror films in a while. One, I don't have any horror films to compare it to, recent or forever ago. And two, I don't think this is a masterpiece. I have a couple major issues that I just explained with the story and how this one particular with Justine Gandy character is handled. So I don't think this is some masterpiece like, oh my God, you got to rush out to see it as a whole. I really liked it though, so I'll give it a 9.25 out of 10. I just won't go any higher than that with a quote unquote masterpiece like everyone else is saying. It's great, but there are a few issues that I don't feel like people are talking about nearly enough, or just enough as a whole in general. So, anyways, guys, that is my review for Weapons. I highly recommend this movie. For what's to come on this channel, starting up next week, I'm firing up a rewatch of the MCU. So, obviously, we're going to start with phase 1, and I'm going to start a Let's Rewind series. That's what I'm going to call it, where I rewatch the MCU, starting with Iron Man. And after each movie, I'm going to come on and kind of just give my overall general laid back thoughts with you guys on how this movie holds up. And then when we're done with that journey in a few months or so, we're going to rank all 37 MCU movies. That's going to be really, really fun. And we can do some other rankings along the way. Like once we finish a trilogy, like for instance, once we finish the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, we can revisit that and rank all 3 movies. But also, so that's starting up next week, but also in the near future, early next week, mid next week, late next week, I don't know, but next week in general, bottom line next week, I'm going to give you guys a hype ranking. I'm going to rank all the upcoming MCU projects from 2025 to 27 and so on that we have confirmed in development right now for Kevin Feige and his team over at Marvel Studios, Marvel Animation. I'm going to rank them based my excitement level based on my excitement. So yeah, guys, that was my review for Weapons. That's coming up in the channel in the next week or so. Next couple week or so, give or take. And yeah, please let me know down in the comments below any video suggestions you would like me to cover in the near future. I know Peacemaker Season 2 is coming out in a couple weeks, a week or so actually from this recording. So I got to watch the Suicide Squad and then Peacemaker Season 1. I have some homework to do, if you will. And then I know Alien Earth premiered yesterday on Hulu/FX, but like I haven't seen any of the Alien movies, so I unfortunately won't be able to cover that on this channel. It's going to be a while. Maybe we can revisit it. It's going to be a while, though. At least a few months. So anyways, guys, let me know down in the comments below any suggestions for videos, what you thought of Weapons. What would you give it out of 10? Do you feel like some of the negatives are being a bit under talked about right now, if you will, like I do? Let me know all that down in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in to another review here on the channel of Weapons, and thank you for the support as always. As always, please share and please like and subscribe to this channel. Please share. Please share this video and channel with anyone, everyone you know, all your friends. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.